Hey homeschool friends, welcome to the video. So this past year I tried out Essentials in Writing, grade 2. So Essentials in Writing is EIW, not to be confused with IEW, Institute for Excellence in Writing. This is EIW. And so I tried out this program, which is basically a grammar and composition program that is grade level. So this is grade level specific. And I went with the DVD option so that I could play it on our DVD player, but there is also a streaming option. And I also ended up picking up the extra resources, which came with an assessment and resource booklet, as well as the teacher's handbook. So I'm gonna be flipping through all of these resources, as well as giving you a review on my final thoughts on using EIW this past year. So stay tuned if you're at all interested in hearing more about this. So hi, my name is Angie. Welcome to the channel if you are new here, and welcome back if you have been coming for a while. And so I'm going to start with a quick flip through of the resources just to help you see what I've been using, what is involved in the grade 2 for EIW. And then we'll come back and I will talk through my thoughts and feelings and review all of the things. So let's do that. All right guys, so I'm going to start with the workbook textbook, which is this one, which is fantastic. So this is supposed to be written in by the student. I didn't have my son write in it because I was planning on reusing it with my daughter. So it's all blank, but the intention is to have your kids write in it. And so again, this is for level 2. And here's the table of contents for what it all has. And so it really has 2 units. You have unit 1 grammar, you have unit 2 composition, and you can see they're pretty equal in length as to how many lessons for each, although there's extra worksheets in the grammar section. So I'd say it's almost like 2/3 grammar, 1/3 composition when it's all said and done. But you have, like here in the grammar, you have introduction, writing sentences, identifying parts of speech and common problems, as well as applying parts of speech and applying sentence structure. And then within composition, you have paragraphs, personal letter, expository paragraph, personal narrative, as well as imaginative narrative. So those are what is covered in grade 2. And so you open it up here and you can see that it is in color, which I really did like. And this is how it starts teaching. So you then follow lesson 1 and you watch the first video for lesson 1. And so there is a video for each lesson. And here's a good example. Here's lesson 2, but this is lesson 2 worksheet 1 and worksheet 2. So he would only watch the video the first day, and then the second day he would practice a little bit more of lesson 2 and practice a little bit more here. And then you can see sometimes it would say stop and there's an assessment 1 here. So anyway, that is how it's set up, and you can see it's a lot of fill in the blank questions here at the beginning, as well as writing in parts of the sentence like subjects and predicates, or writing a sentence about something. So you can see there's a decent amount of writing, but it is still very much workbook format, so it's not too bad, and it's in color. And I did like some of these pages that just gave the definition of the different types of sentences, and we would print these off and keep these kind of in a binder for him to be able to refer back to. So anyway, so that is the textbook as well as the workbook for the kids, which I liked. I thought it kept it very straightforward and concise. And let me flip now to more of the composition. Okay, so here's unit 2 composition on the paragraph, and this is lesson 26, so there would be a video. And you can see here then an extra page to work on. And lesson 27, it'd be opening sentence, and then you practice body sentences as well as closing sentences, all in lesson 27. And then it talks about staying on topic. And here are some like flowcharts to help them organize. So it's like a brainstorming page to help them organize, as well as some paragraph organizers with opening, detail, 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 closing. So you can see this is very structured in its teaching to write. And then it would have some checklists, which is helpful for the parent and the child, I would think, to be able to work through some of that. And so here, like say expository writing, it has a very similar setup where you learn and then you brainstorm, put it in like a graphic organizer, and then here is where they would draft their paragraph and then write their paragraph, sometimes type it. So anyway, that is how the workbook textbook is set up, and then here are the DVDs, since I picked DVD, but a lot of times you could get this same book with the streaming option. I actually think that is all that is currently available. I'm not even sure if they're selling the DVD curriculum anymore. It might all be streaming, but let me show you what comes in kind of the teacher handbook extras. So this is, we'll go through the teacher handbook first. So what is helpful here is it just gives you extra notes for teaching the program, which I did appreciate, but I'm not sure how much it would be necessary. So a lot of these are like scoring composition, how to use the program with the video lessons, and then this page helps you understand like where the videos fit in, and then how many days of practice sheets there are after a certain video. And you can see in the grammar section there's a lot of extra practice, and then when you get to the composition section there's usually just a video and a practice, a video and a practice sort of idea. So it's just set up a little bit differently. And this does help with that, and then it gives a few optional weekly plans for how to do that. So, and then I think this is the answer key for the assessments. And then you can see here, this is the assessment and resource. You can see this is the assessments, and I would just tear these out and copy them. Like I said, I was saving it for my daughter, and that's how the assessments are set up, and these are for like lesson 3 and 4, lesson 5 and 6. And it was a good way to check how well he was doing. And you would even have assessments when you get like assessment personal letters. So they would have the assessment as well as extra checklists. So there's still assessments when it came to the writing or composition section. And then here's just some extra resources. So this is a spelling dictionary, which we didn't use, but it was instructed in the program how to use it. And here's just different copies of graphic organizers and things like that. So extra resources, extra supplement word lists for lessons, different lessons. So those things are very helpful, and I did like that. So those are the resources for Essentials in Writing Grade 2. So welcome back. I hope that was helpful to see a bit of inside the curriculum, what is covered, how it's covered, things like that. And so, yes, I hope that was helpful. Now let's hop into my review, my thoughts. So first off, why did I even pick up this curriculum? And so that comes from the fact that I have been struggling a bit with understanding how to teach writing or composition. And so about halfway through last year, I just wasn't feeling supported enough in the curriculum I was using. And so EIW was very appealing because of two things. One, it really held your hand. As you could see when I went through some of those composition assignments and those lessons, you could see how it just really walked the kids through the different aspects of, say, the paragraph. And so I really wanted that. And I also really liked, number 2 thing, is the DVDs. I liked the fact that somebody else would be teaching. And so writing and language arts in general are really the subjects that I feel the most insecure about teaching. And so the idea of having a DVD and a teacher teach those lessons to my kids was very appealing to me. So that is why I picked it up. Now, am I going to be using it again next year? No, I'm not. It didn't quite fit what I was looking for, but also I continued to research into how to teach writing, how to teach composition, what's age appropriate sort of ideas. And I've learned a lot, and I'm just going to try a different direction. So is that the fault of the curriculum? No, it was just kind of part of my journey. And I think I needed this half a year in EIW where it was very structured curriculum to help me learn that. So I am in no way bashing the curriculum. It just wasn't quite the right fit for us. Although I might pick it back up later. I will never close the door on any curriculum. It might be something more appropriate for when my kids are older, or maybe one of my other kids who need a more structured program. So I will never say I won't use it again, but am I using it next year? No. So let me walk through the specifics of what I liked and didn't like. So I'll start with the DVDs. I love the DVDs. I thought Mr. Stevens was funny. My son thought Mr. Stevens was funny. I'm like, he has just a really good presence, like a really good classroom presence where he can teach things in small bites. Like I thought that was done really well. The videos were never very long. They were always about 5 minutes, and it would teach an important concept, and then it would go to the worksheets where they could work out those concepts. So my favorite part of the program was probably the DVDs and Mr. Stevens teaching. So that was top notch. I really liked that. So next, the scope and sequence. So you can see how it was structured. It was structured where the grammar was first and the composition was second. And at first I liked that, but as we got going, I didn't like that as much. I felt like I actually would have maybe preferred if they were rotating a bit, where you learn a little grammar, you learn a little composition, because the composition was so heavy and so hard that it almost feels like you could have used a grammar break, if you will, something that was a little lighter, easier to understand, not so conceptually heavy for my kiddo. And so I wish they would have done a little bit of that. And by the time you got through all that grammar, it just felt like too much. And my son was having a tough time remembering back like what we did a month ago. Like they'd have the worksheets, and I did pick up the assessments. You saw that in the assessment bundle, and those were useful, but I felt like they were also a little difficult because it was hard to remember some of the details of grammar. And I mean, I don't even understand the details of grammar, so I'm not sure if that's like a con of EIW or if it's just more along the lines of grammar is hard for a second grader. I'm not sure, but that part was a little difficult and I didn't like that as much. But did I feel like the scope and sequence was like age appropriate? Yes, I felt like it was. He could learn it all. It was all within his ability to grasp. Like I said, the composition was a little tougher, but the thing was, I felt like he could learn it, but he couldn't remember it. It kind of went in one ear, out the other. It didn't mean anything to him. It was hard to hold on to. And maybe that's just because it's grammar. As for the developmental appropriateness to composition, I also feel like that was probably on level, maybe a little advanced. That again, I feel like that comes down more to me and understanding what my son is capable of and how to help him. But he often just kind of had a little bit of deer in the headlights aspect to that. Like he didn't quite know how to make that happen himself. Like he could watch the DVD, he could understand what Mr. Stevens was saying, but then getting to the point of like actually writing his own paragraph was challenging. And that's okay, because I feel like he's in that world of trying to work through that and trying to master paragraph writing and move on. You know what I mean? Like that felt developmentally appropriate, but again, it was just hard to learn. But I've seen other composition programs that are very similar, like Abeka, and their expectations are even more for the second graders. I'm just not sure where I land on that. So I'm not sure if it's, again, an EIW problem, but really the composition is where the wheels came off the bus for us. It was where I really realized that the structured curriculum didn't necessarily fix it. It was more just readiness for him to have like original thought and bring the original thought onto paper. And I just don't think he was quite ready. So it didn't matter if we had a loose program or a structured program. I just didn't think he was quite ready for it. And I hope that makes sense to all of you. So all in all, my review of IEW was it just didn't fit for right now. I love the DVDs. I love Mr. Stevens' teaching. I just didn't feel like my son was learning what he was getting taught. Like, I don't think it was sticking with the grammar. I don't think it was sticking. And then it was hard for him to be able to write kind of his own thoughts, even within the structure when it came to the composition. So I just don't feel like it was the right time. And honestly, when I think back on it reflectively, I'm able to see that last year was a year where he was able to learn to read. Like he started reading independently, but he was still working very hard on reading. And so honestly, I probably could have just given him a pass on the grammar and the composition and let him work on reading. That's what I have learned. That's what I've learned in this process. And EIW helped me learn that. Helped me learn that there wasn't just a curriculum that I could throw at my son that was going to make this work. I had to really understand how to learn how to teach writing. And so I understand that now, and that's the path I am on. But yeah, that's where I'm at with EIW. Will I use it again? Maybe. Maybe not. Definitely not next year. I'm going a different direction than that. But I'm not going to say that I won't ever use it, because I do think it had a lot of value. I feel like the structured approach to teaching writing can be a really good thing, and it can really help certain kids. So I will not say that I won't use it again, but it wasn't what I needed. But it helped me learn a little bit more. And as a homeschool mom, I love that. So that is what I have for my EIW grade 2 review and flip through. Let me know down below if you have any questions about the curriculum that I didn't cover, forgot to say something about, as well as questions about my experience and your thoughts on the curriculum. I would love to know if you have used it and you love it. That would be wonderful. I'd love to know that down below. So please comment that. And if you like these types of review videos of my experience with certain curriculums, please give the video a thumbs up. It really does help my channel. And feel free to subscribe if you want to. But otherwise, guys, I will see you in the next homeschool video. All right, take care.